Welcome, classmates. Let's take a look at Week 2 assignment and especially Chapter 4 exercise enabling VM disk encryption. Maybe there's some tips and tricks we can provide as we go through this. So as you go through these steps, you may find that you have some success, you have limited success, you're able to actually get Windows PowerShell ISE up and running. I did. We'll come back to that in a minute. And as you come further down, you may be able to find the encryption instructions. I posted another announcement about how to go get information on the encryption. So that was step 3. So now, coming to step 4, I want you to note the note. If you continue, consider the following web page instructions directly, since they may change over time. So these are not in concurrence with the current installation of Azure. And if you notice, it says the rest of this exercise is optional. Well, let's not make it optional. Let's attempt to do something very successful. So first thing I wanted to point out is I was able to get Windows PowerShell ISE installed. I was able to log into my account. But as you can see, when I go to modules, and I continue to try and install additional pieces. But to some point, I just said, I just don't seem to have all the modules that I need to run. And besides, this class is about cloud computing. So as you come over to the virtual machine that you have, I want you to note something. So it's neat that you can get PowerShell running on your desktop. And there are certain function or utility that comes in handy to be able to do. But for our class and for the purposes of encryption, especially exercise 4, let's consider that we have PowerShell right here in the cloud. So we're just going to click on this icon and we're going to log right in. So notice how I authenticated. There were multiple steps to authenticate using PowerShell from your desktop, but look at how simple that was. So now I want to walk you through some steps for, let's go through, and here's a nice URL, and I'll also paste this in the announcement, where you can go and follow step by step how to create a VM, create a key vault, and add encryption. And that's kind of what we're doing here as well. They're walking you through how to create a key vault. And if you notice down here, they're telling you how to grab the green text, and they're telling you how to install that green text here. Instead of output 1, output 2, you're supposed to use the green text. But I'll actually show you how to find these values and generate them. So the first step is we're logged in. So we can create this variable called credentials. And watch how simple this is. We're just going to copy that, right-hand mouse, and paste right in here. It's going to then ask us for the credentials that we want to use. So you can give it a nice username and a password. Make sure it's over 12 characters. And I'm done. And at this point, it really doesn't matter whether or not I remember my password, because the next step that we're going to create a VM. Virtual machine. We're going to do it from the command line. So that's part of this exercise as well. And you're going to watch it create right before your eyes here. So I'm going to paste this command. We're going to create a virtual machine named sample VM. So we'll go look at our virtual machines. And we only have one right now. So we're going to create this one. It says no size has been provided. So the VM will be created with the default size, and it gives you a default size. And as you can see here, the percent complete is occurring right in front of you. And then up above, since we've got this dual mode where we're looking at the cloud Azure application, we're also running the cloud PowerShell. So we're able to do this split screen. So we'll refresh, and at some point we're going to see, once our resource gets created here, we're going to see another virtual machine here, and it should have the name of sample VM. So now you can see that it's still running. It's about 30% build, and sample VM has been created. The status is creating. So we're in good, and to make this video a little quicker, I'll come out and back in when this is finished creating. So I'm back, and you can see we get this nice output message once the VM's created, and it's got an ID, and it shows a status of success. And up on the top here, we can see if we refresh our screen that our VM is running. So now we're on to the next step. And the next step is we need to create a key vault. So here's a command, and I'm using a resource group that I created earlier in this class. And I just named my key vault, just like we're consistently replacing the pound sign with, I'm using my last name, and then dash key vault. So I just gave the key vault a name. So now we're going to copy this command here, and we're going to create a key vault. And when successful, you'll get a nice output message that's very verbose, and it's going to show you that it created a key vault. This is required for encryption because we're going to have to pass the key vault in the next command. We're going to have to pass a couple of things in the next command. Let me show you how to find the final piece that we need. So when we actually add the encryption, we're going to pass this the key vault value, and it's a fully qualified value, and it concatenates two components together. So the first thing is, let's go to a resource group, and I'm using stgdenley resource group. I'm going to look at the properties in the resource group, and I'm going to find my subscription ID, my resource ID. So this resource ID gives me half of what I need. So the resource ID gives me, and I'll show you down here, I'll paste the value of my resource ID, and I'll push it over here so you can see how it lines up with what I actually ended up using. So when I ran it with the shortened version, it came back with an error, and it said you need to add the rest of this information. So let me and this actually came back in the error message. It said, please add this fully qualified extension. So now my new path to the key vault looks like that. And you can do the same thing. And I'll leave these posted in the announcement as well. So now I'm going to add encryption. So we'll come back to here, and we're going to copy and paste this command and add encryption. And what's being encrypted is our disk. So we'll go back to the virtual machine. Here's our sample VM. As you can see right now, down in the PowerShell, it's running. So the command is running, it's adding encryption. So I'm going to come back up here, and we're going to want to go to our disks, and then we'll click on our disk. Notice how our command is still running to enable encryption. And here, once we're inside of disk, we can actually click on encryption. So I'll pause and come back so this video can be a little quicker for you. So we're back, and our command ran successfully. Our virtual machine is status of running, and we can also go look at the disks. In this case, we have one disk, and it's encrypted. So that's our lesson for exercise for week 2. And I look forward to talking with you further in class. Have fun. Keep up what you're doing. Talk to you soon.